So, why do rich people buy private jets? According to someone called Brian Pineda. So, let's check this out.
Here's the truth about why rich people buy private jets. A lot of people will say that the experience is better or that it's going to save them all this time. Some people will just be doing it as a flex. But the reality is, it's one of the biggest tax write offs you can get. If you bought a $10 million jet for your business, you could potentially write off the entire purchase price that year. So if you made $10 million in net income that year, you could write off the whole thing by purchasing that jet. And that would mean you don't have to pay any taxes because you bought it. And this is just a strategy that ultra wealthy people do. But there are a lot of things that you could be doing today, no matter where you're at, that can help you become wealthy. And if you want to learn what those strategies
Okay, so here's the thing. So, the temporary 100% expensing for certain business assets, first year bonus depreciation by the IRS.gov. And here's the thing, right? It does go into this and it basically says that there is a potential that you could technically write off the full purchase price of a private jet, right? The only thing is, it is an extremely complicated process. Not to mention, guess what? You still spent that money on a private jet and you got to keep it running. And even if you don't use that private jet, you're still losing millions of dollars a year in just maintenance. It's very, I guess you could say, similar to like a Bugatti, where even if you don't use the Bugatti, you're still spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in just maintenance costs. So that really comes down to a situation where, like, are you in a place where financially is actually cheaper for you to buy a private jet with the running costs, the maintenance cost, the employee cost of just basically hiring pilots, mechanics, etc., gas, compared to just renting a private jet for like a day? Like, does it, like, are you at the point where you are flying so often where it actually makes financial sense for you to actually go down the route of buying a private jet? Like, to me, it'd probably be really cool to like fly on a private jet one day, but would it even make sense to just constantly just be spending money over and over and over and over again? Now, if you're a billionaire, it doesn't really matter one way or the other, right? In terms of like expenses, it's just, does it make sense to spend 10 million to potentially get tax benefits for that one year, but you're still constantly spending money every single year after that until you were to sell it? So let's check this out. But then you also spent $10 million, didn't pay tax, but still spent all the money. Yeah. They are rich, they don't like other people. To save 2 million, spending 10 million. Nice. Like, here's the thing that I don't really understand. I don't really understand why so many wealthy people, or people that are just making good money, like stress out so much about trying to minimize their taxes by spending their money, right? When they could just pay their taxes and just not spend a crazy amount of money and still have a lot. Like, here's the thing, a lot of what people end up getting into, like like a mental like trouble with, is that they end up spending almost all of their money to try to not spend money on taxes, but they end up spending their money on things that they don't even like just to avoid paying taxes. It it almost doesn't really make any sense. This person says, what is a tax write-off? A tax write-off, it just basically decreases your total amount that you'd have to pay to the government at the end of the year, basically. Not true. Capital allowance rate is not 100%. The thing is, in some cases, depending on the law, depending on whether or not you're able to actually do it, again, because there's a lot of like fluctuations with it, you could technically do it, right? So this one basically says there's like a temporary 100% expensing for certain business assets for the first year bonus depreciation. So technically, you could, In some cases, potentially write off the full price of the thing, and potentially, depending on how your business is set up, basically not pay taxes for multiple years. But you still spend that money, which is like annoying. Please explain how to gain more from credit card. I don't know how that isn't it at all. Let's see. Pretty sure you completely wrong. I'm pretty sure it's because they love flying and they want their own plane. Well, I mean that is part of it. I mean some of these like super rich people basically just love to fly private. Non-American here, what does write-off mean? And again, it's basically just saying that you are able to pay less taxes by spending your money on things. Basically, that is like used for like business or whatever. So I spent 10 million to write off 10 million, so basically I earned zero. Lesson here is do anything possible to avoid taxes. Wow. Some wins are because they can. See, again, like to me, I just don't think it's really worth it. But then again, I don't fly anywhere, so who knows? Maybe if I was a billionaire flying all over the place to try to make business deals or whatever, maybe that would be worthwhile. But I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy to me. I just don't like the idea of basically being forced to spend money just to try to like not pay taxes, right? Like think about it like this. Like say you're someone who does not like to spend money, right? Are you just going to go and like spend money just so that you don't get taxed as badly, but you're just spending the money even though you don't want to spend your money? Like it gets into like such like an annoying type of mindset. It's like, oh, let's just say for example, like, oh, I made $1 million this year. Now I gotta basically spend like 800,000 of it or like 600,000 of it or whatever to basically make it so that I pretty much pay nothing in taxes, but I have all this crap that I don't even use that I spend all my money on for pretty much no reason. When you could just pay the taxes and then put that money into investments and exponentially grow your net worth. You could pay off debt if you got debt, etc. Right? Or you could give the money if you want to give money and be generous to other people. I just don't like the mental annoyance of basically being in the mindset of because I made money, I have to spend all that money just so that I don't pay taxes. Like that would just be super annoying.